You probably know the feeling of applying to jobs and never hearing back. How many times have you applied? Hundreds? What about thousands? That's exactly where Kevin is at after applying to over 2,000 jobs in the last couple of years. This isn't just some guy who fell off the turnip truck. This guy has an MBA. That means he sat at university for at least 6 years. And on top of that, he's a military veteran. But that hasn't made a difference for him. So instead, he's resorted to driving Uber and doing TaskRabbit, little side gigs for money. This is happening in Portland, Oregon, but really, it's happening across the country. Millions of people are in this exact same situation where they did what they were supposed to do. They went to school, they got a degree, they have experience, but they still cannot get a job. Out of every 250 resumes that apply to a job, maybe 4 to 6 get the interview. And if someone has been out of work for more than 27 weeks, their chances of getting a job drop to 18%. Questions that come to mind when hearing a story like this: number 1, what does his resume look like? Number 2, has he been networking? When it comes to his resume, he had it professionally reviewed 9 times. But these are individuals he found on LinkedIn. A lot of them cold messaged him. And that means they could have been predatory. There are groups online, on LinkedIn, that target unemployed individuals in order to try to suck more money out from them. And this is by offering services like writing resumes, career coaching, things like that. But most of the time, you don't really know who these people are. And you could pay 9 different people to write 9 different resumes, and they're all going to look different. Writing resumes is a skill that anybody can develop. And you have to think about it like this: who knows you better than you? You're the only person that knows exactly what you have done. So if you pay someone to write, you're going to have to allocate time and communicate with that person and explain every single thing that you've done. And even then, you could potentially miss something. So that resume is never going to be as strong as if you go ahead and type it up yourself. Now, when you're doing your resume, the first page, that's crucial. That's basically sending the signal to the hiring manager that you should interview me. Your achievements should be on the top. And so many people, they miss that part. Your top 3 achievements, they should be the strongest in that position because people are actually going to be looking at that first page. 2 things stick out to me in Kevin's situation. Number 1, he paid for an MBA with his time, his attention, and his energy. And what has that done for him lately? Not very much. There are so many people that want to incur additional college debt so that they can pivot and start getting traction in their job search. That is not always the answer. Most of the time, higher education is not the answer if you're trying to get interviews, if you're actually trying to get a job. Now, where he got his MBA, it wasn't some sketchy for-profit college either. He went to Oregon State University, which is in the top 1/3 of national universities. It looks like he enrolled in the MBA program in his mid to late 30s. When you're in your mid to late 30s or early 40s, what gets you the job is your experience. The education component of it, that's what gets you the first job or maybe your second job while you're in your 20s. After that, your experience speaks for you. The second thing that's alarming is Kevin is a veteran. So you hear so many companies advertising that they're military friendly or they're veteran friendly. What does that even mean? Does that mean they give you a preference? Usually no. But there is one place where you can get a guaranteed preference, where they'll actually add points to your application score, and that place is the federal government. Let's take a look at federal government jobs on usajobs.gov. There are over 2 million federal employees all across the world. I don't know if Kevin ever considered government jobs, but I'm going to send him a message today on LinkedIn because his profile is wide open. The government gives veterans a preference 3 different ways. Number 1 is VEOA. This is the Veterans Employment Opportunity Act. This would allow him to apply to jobs that are only open to current government employees. So regular members of the public cannot apply. But since you're a veteran, you're able to apply. What this does is it opens up thousands of more opportunities that you can apply to. Next is VRA. This is the Veteran Recruitment Appointment. This is a non-competitive hiring authority. He could, in theory, get a job that's not even advertised on usajobs.gov. He could be placed up to GS11, and sometimes you can get placed without even an interview. He's eligible for this if he deployed, or if he's disabled, or he left the military in the last 3 years. Next is veteran preference points. This is either +0, +5, or +10 points added to his overall job application score. Now, in addition to those 3 ways, he also could find a veteran hiring coordinator. You can find this on OPM Feds Hire Vets website. Without knowing too much more about Kevin's situation, or even looking at his resume, we can probably tell he's eligible for the 1100 series. This is because he has business experience. Also, he's eligible for 0300 because of his administrative experience. His resume, however, it needs to be completely different than when he's applying to private sector jobs. His resume probably needs a lot more details and a lot more focused on the achievements. In his area in Oregon alone, there are over 500 federal government jobs open today. If he decided to go this route, he could buy back his military time. He would be closer to getting a federal pension. Now, in his story, it's a pretty sad story. He went through a divorce about 2 years ago. That's right about the time when he started applying to jobs. In addition to that, he had a 401k, but he had to go ahead and drain that. He sold his house in the divorce. He had half the money from that. And all of that money over the last 2 years, it's been going away. He doesn't really have much of anything right now. His rent is still $3,000 a month, which is pretty high, even for Oregon. But his side hustles right now, they're taking him away from the house at least 12 hours a day. That's time away from his kid. So by transitioning and getting into the public sector, he would be able to achieve real life, work-life balance and the flexibility and security that comes with a government job. If you are a job seeker or know a job seeker that's desperately looking for their next job, you should be aware of both sectors, private and public. 85% of the jobs, they're going to be private. That's the jobs everyone knows about. The other 15%, that's public. And I'm not just talking about the federal government. It's also state government. It's county government. It's city government. A lot of them have benefits. Most of them have that stability and security where you do not have to worry about when are the layoffs coming. How long before I have to jump and look for a different job? And most, if not all of them, also offer a pension, something that is neglected far too often. We've been conditioned to not expect pensions. We've been conditioned to just rely upon the stock market or just a prayer that Social Security might be around when we get to the age of 62, 65. The strategies you use in order to get a private sector job will not get you a public sector job. You need to be aware of those differences. If you're new to federal government jobs and you want to understand the hiring process better, every step that goes into it, when you apply, when you get referred, the interview, negotiating salary, your job offer, all of it. If that interests you, I want you to watch this video next. If you would like to see more videos like this, please click like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.